You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Okay, friends and neighbors, we'll get back to this morning's programming in just a second here, but first a little word with you about Free Speech TV. Well, they did it, they did it. Yep, damn Republicans shut down the government, and you know what? They shut down the government because they ran out of money. Well, we're going to have to shut down free speech if we run out of money. No, we're not going to shut it down, but we do need your help to keep going here with the great programming on Free Speech TV. I'm the new kid on the block, but Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, Democracy Now!, David Pakman been here a long time, and the kind of programming that you get on Free Speech TV. I ran into someone yesterday who was so excited. He said, Free Speech, I love it because they broadcast the Netroots Conference every year. He said, all kinds of good stuff on free speech, but without any corporate money, that's how we can be so independent. Without any government money, without any political campaign ads running on Free Speech TV, it's all up to you, our viewers across this great land of ours, to keep us going. So I ask you to go to our the toll-free number 877-378-8669 and make your pledge, or go to the website freespeech.org. And if you're already a supporter of Free Speech TV, we thank you and ask you to renew your sponsorship at this time. And if not, if you're new to free speech like I am, then join up and keep us going, keep us on the air. If you can help us with $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. Send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk, about the right-wing radio world and all the crazies who are on there, and also about the good lefties who are on talk radio, like me and Tom Hartman and Stephanie Miller and Ed Schultz, and how we can, what liberals have to do to really level the playing field. If you can help us with $240 a year, which is just $20 a month for all this good programming, a copy of Toxic Talk, and a copy of How the Republicans Stole Religion, which refutes the Republicans' attempt to get a monopoly on faith and to say they're the one faith party and the Democrats are not. And how about it? For $360 a year, that's just $30 a month, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and the latest book, my latest book, The Obama Hate Machine, about the Koch brothers, the evil Koch brothers and their big machine, which is trying to pollute American politics. So that's what we've got to offer to you for $120, for $240, for $360 a year. Help us out here at Free Speech TV, because we're proud to be so independent, just interested in telling the truth every day with no corporate influence at all. We can only do that with your help right here on Free Speech TV. The number again, 877-378-8669. Or you can go to freespeech.org. Back to the news.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Oh, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
All right, here we go. It is day number 3 of the government shutdown, and we are no closer to a solution. In fact, looks like things are getting even worse. I know. I'm getting my microphone all set up here.
I just have to put my pants on.
I'm getting dressed. Here we go. Things are getting worse, not better, because Republicans are now saying, yeah, we're having so much fun. We're hurting so many people. Let's just drag it out until October the 17th. What do you say? Good morning, everybody. It is the 3rd of October today, Thursday, October 3rd, 2013. Good to see you today. Rock and roll. Let's get into it and find out what you think about all the games that they're playing here in Washington, D.C. No doubt who's responsible and no doubt who is getting hurt. It's a hell of a way to run a railroad, but John Boehner, with no balls, no backbone, just gives in to the Tea Party, and he's letting 20 Tea Party people run the entire country. That's not what we voted for. You want to join us? We invite your calls and your comments because, remember, we're coming to you on your local Progressive Talk radio station. Wherever you happen to be in this great land of ours, for your morning radio show, we are coming to you on Free Speech TV, the radio show carried on Free Speech TV. Very grateful to be there on the Dish Network or on DirecTV. And you can stream us online if you prefer looking at that computer or your laptop or iPad or whatever. Just go to youtube.com/TawkrTV, TAWKRTV, and there's a video stream. And you will see the smiling faces, not just mine, but of Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning.
Don't ask me to smile yet.
No.
Good morning.
Too early to smile?
It's a little early for a smile for me, buddy.
Pretty serious this morning. Alicia Cruz, she's wide awake. She's got the phones covered, and I don't know whether Cyprian Bowling is wide awake.
No, he's a big grin on Cyprian's face. There he is.
Right,
yeah,
okay,
Mr.
good.
Happy over there.
Mr. Happy, yeah, good. Keeping us looking good on the video cam. Well, do we finally have all the teams now that are going to be in the that have won the wild card? Last night was
wild card is done. We're on to the division series, which start tonight.
They start already tonight?
Yeah, the National League starts tonight.
Mm-hmm. Well, last night the American League, the wild card decided. It was Tampa Bay versus Cleveland, the Rays versus the Indians, and here's how it ended up.
Here he comes.
Pretty one-sided.
Swing and a miss. He struck him out. And the Tampa Bay Rays have won the American League wild card, and they've got a date with the Boston Red Sox for the American League Division Series. The Rays shut out the Indians 4-0, and the celebration behind the mound is underway here in Cleveland.
The Tampa Bay Rays, who, by the way, have traveled. They've traveled something like
fire. Yeah,
they've traveled something like 10,000 miles in the last 4 days. They've been to 3 cities in the last 4 days. They've won 9 of their last 11 games, and they're gonna put up a fight.
I mean, with baseball more than any other sport, it's all about when you get hot, and they're hot right now, man. They're really hot,
and they go up against the Red Sox, right? So
who had a very strong season?
Yeah,
it's going to be a good
they're going
series.
to have to be hot. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so we've got a lot of good people coming up, including the most powerful member of the United States Senate, the Majority Leader, Harry Reid, will be here on our program exclusively this morning. We also have Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa from Hawaii. Flew all the way in from Hawaii this morning.
And boy, are her arms tired. I got to tell you.
There you go. Bada boom. She's coming here in studio this morning. And Evan McMorris-Santoro covers the White House for Buzzfeed. Will be here as a friend of Bill. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Other headlines making news on this Thursday. Jay Farrow, the Saturday Night Live star who portrays Barack Obama, is speaking out about the show's current cast and a need for greater diversity. He tells thegrio.com that SNL needs to pay attention to who it's hiring. All 6 new cast members this season are white and only 1 is a woman. He says the show needs a full-time on-air black female cast member, and he says they are easily found.
Oh, wow, that's pretty ballsy.
Good for him.
Good for him. Yeah.
Certainly stirring the pot.
I guess he's got a pretty good contract.
Yeah, right.
He does a really good Obama.
He does a good Obama. And by the way, he's absolutely dead on about the hiring. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
It's right. Michael Jackson's family lost its lawsuit against the late King of Pop's concert promoter yesterday.
I am so glad, those money grubbers.
CNN reports a jury ruled that AEG Live was not liable in Jackson's death. The ruling states that at the time that AEG hired Dr. Conrad Murray as their general practitioner, he was fit and competent to do his job as a doctor, and their hiring of him was unrelated to Jackson's death. But the jury foreman said this ruling absolutely does not vindicate Dr. Murray.
No, but, I mean, that family, they're just money grubbing. They've been trying to exploit Jackson's death and wring every penny out of it they can.
It is a little sick that they won't stop going after people.
Yeah, just stop it. Just,
no one forced him to take drugs.
And Burger King started rolling out its new French fries yesterday, but they're actually called Satis Fries. USA Today reports they have 30% less fat, 20% fewer calories than Burger King's regular
they've
fries.
They've been out for a while.
Yeah,
I had some last week. They are not horrible.
And they're also 40% less fat and 30% less calories than McDonald's fries. The company also changed its corporate logo to say Fries King instead of Burger King on its website as a PR stunt. No word on how long they'll keep that up.
They're not the king of fries. Thrashers are the king of fries, followed closely by Five Guys.
Having had them, I'll repeat what I said last week. If you're going to have fries,
go for fries.
Go for fries. Go get Five Guys or some really good fries.
Thrashers.
Yeah, or Thrashers. If you're close to Thrashers, get Thrashers.
If you're near Ocean City, Maryland,
I was about to say, the people listening to us.
Beach.
I wouldn't book a flight.
Right now.
I wouldn't book a flight to come.
I would. I would. I have driven 2.5 hours to Ocean City just to get fries? Just to get Thrasher's
French
fries.
Man.
No, I have. I've gone.
Is that where you go when you leave here right after the show and say you have a meeting to get to?
Yeah.
If there's not a White House briefing, you can probably find me on the boardwalk at Ocean City.
Yeah, I got to get that fry fix, man.
Got me a Thrasher fix. Okay. Man, I got to tell you. So this shutdown is just, it's outrageous. It is every adjective you can think of. Is irresponsible. It is reckless. It is dangerous. It is totally unnecessary. It continues again. We keep coming back to this. There are enough votes. At least 20 Republicans have stood up and said, we will vote for a budget, a clean budget, no strings attached. Nothing to do with Obamacare. At least 20 Republicans and every single Democrat, which means there are more than enough votes to pass this in the House. John Boehner will not allow a vote because the 20 Tea Partiers have him by the balls and they won't let go, and he's afraid of losing his job. And that continues. And they are determined now, they indicated yesterday, that now having shut down the government, they're going to keep it shut down. They don't give a damn. They don't give a rat's ass about 800,000 people, federal employees across this land who have families, who have bills to pay, that they're not getting paid. The members of Congress are getting paid. What the hell do they care? They're fat and happy. So they don't give a damn. They've indicated yesterday that they're just going to let this thing fester, get worse and worse, drag out until October the 17th, which is when we run up against the deadline for raising the debt ceiling. And then they figure that it'll all come together, and then they'll really have leverage to get what they want, which they won't. It just means that the economy will collapse. It could be a global recession. But again, these Tea Partiers don't care. They're willing to bring it on, and John Boehner has allowed himself to be their captive. And by the way, just one point on that. If they really want to make a deal over the debt ceiling, they don't have to wait until October 17, right? I mean, that's the drop-dead deadline. They could do it today, but instead, they're going to drag it on. And so, in addition to all of those adjectives which I started out with, the shutdown has become absolute, total gimmickry, especially over the World War II monument, which is what the Republicans have seized on, or memorial here. It's what Republicans have seized on to try to turn this whole thing around and blame it on President Obama. Right. Now, let's remember, who shut down the government? House Republicans shut down the government. Shutting down the government means everything should shut down. But certain parts of the government have shut down, including all the national parks, all the national monuments, and all the Smithsonian museums. But, these World War II vets come here. There's a whole program to bring them here so they can see this memorial to the Great War that they fought in. God bless them. And Republicans have seized on that, saying how unfair it is to shut that one memorial down. Well, maybe they should have thought about that before they shut down the freaking government. And so these members of Congress, these glory hounds led by Michelle Bachmann, have gone down there every day and made a ceremony of letting these wheelchair World War II veterans in and running over to the TV cameras. In fact, one of the reporters at the White House told me yesterday he made a big mistake. He almost got crushed yesterday. He got between Michelle Bachmann and a TV camera. So here she is, the first day she goes down there to the TV cameras. No.
Well, every day there's a shutdown. We're going to be here to make sure the veterans get in. There'll be some members of Congress here to make sure they get in.
But isn't it Congress that shut the memorial down?
No, absolutely not. Because what we did is we sent over 4 different funding bills to fully fund government to fund this memorial to make sure it shuts down. We sent them over, and Harry Reid refused to even look at them, and President Obama wouldn't deal at all.
Actually, that's Evan McMorris-Santoro from Buzzfeed asking her that question. But do you hear what she says? She says, lying through her teeth. We didn't shut the government down. Oh, yes, you did.
Who did then?
Oh, yes, you did, and you voted for it. Dingbat? Yeah, indeed. She said, no, but we let them in because we were here. We had these. We brought all the tools we needed
to
really tear down the barricade.
Real people get hurt. And so, unfortunately, these veterans were locked out. We came with the scissors and cut the scissors on this yellow tape and got these veterans in. They deserve that, and they shouldn't be caught up in the middle of this tomfoolery that's going on.
With this tomfoolery.
Whoa, with that salty language. Be careful. This is a family
from
program.
Her gay husband? God. Yeah, but so she comes.
I'm sure there's some tomfoolery in that family.
There is a lot of tomfoolery when she's out of town.
The guy's named Tom.
But, fooling around with Tom. That's what her husband's up to. What's his name? Guy? No, I forget what.
Marcus.
But anyhow,
hey, sweetie.
Then she comes with the scissors to cut the yellow tape. Man, oh man, she's brave, man. I'm telling you. And then this idiot talk show host Mark Levin last night, who has the worst voice on the planet, worse than Ted Cruz, which is really saying something. He's so mad, he's going to get 500,000 people on the mall. You just watch how mad I am.
You lay one damn hand on one of those World War II vets at that memorial, I'll bring 500,000 people to that damn memorial.
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
You got that? I'm sitting here stewing, thinking about this. Playing these damn games?
Yeah. Playing these damn games.
You will ignite a movement in this country like you've never seen before.
God, that little twit. I mean, come on.
Who's laying a hand on any
nobody's
of the veterans?
Touched one of those veterans. But here's the deal. The Republicans shut down the government. The Republicans shut down the World War II memorial. They should have thought about that before they voted for it. And now they're trying to blame this on President Obama and make that the symbol of it. Let me tell you something. Look, my father's a World War II vet, okay? God rest his soul. And I have total respect for the greatest generation. But keep that damn memorial shut down. I think, my problem is they didn't shut enough down. The shutdown has to be, in my view, it's got to be across the board. No exceptions. Republicans can't go cherry picking the little things that they want to keep open because they're popular. No, let them stew in their own juice. I think it's a mistake. I would say keep those World War II veterans out of there. And then let them tell the world why they can't go in. They can't go in because John Boehner and his bunch of clowns don't have the balls to stand up and do what is right. Let's talk about it here. The shutdown, I'm sure you feel it wherever you happen to be in this World War. Talk about playing games. They're playing games with World War II vets. 55 Press.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, good morning, everybody. What do you say? This is Bill Press here. We'll be back to today's broadcast with all of our great guests in just a moment here. But first, just a word about Free Speech TV. You know, I started my nationally syndicated radio show in 2005, almost 8 years ago now. And I've also done, think about it, this is my fifth national television show on CNN. I was co-host of Crossfire. I was co-host of The Spin Room. On MSNBC, I was co-host of Buchanan and Press for several years. On Current TV, did a show called Full Court Press, and now the Bill Press Show on Free Speech TV. And I've got to tell you, in all that time, with all those different networks, all those different shows, I never felt as at home and as comfortable and as good about what I'm doing as I do right now on Free Speech TV. I'm so glad to be part of this great network that brings you people like Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman and David Pakman. So proud to join that lineup. But, you know, and this is the kind of media, the reason I feel so comfortable, because totally independent, totally free to talk about whatever you want to talk about. You get to get involved in the conversation. And that's the kind of broadcasting you'll find nowhere else. It's truly independent, truly transparent, truly truthful, speaking truth to power every day. And that's what we need in this country. But, of course, without any corporate money, without any political ads, without any government money, free speech depends on you to keep us going and to keep this great lineup coming to you every day. So we ask you, if you're already a supporter of free speech, to renew your sponsorship. If you're new to free speech like I am, then join us any way you can. Go to 877-378-8669 and send us whatever support you can. Be as generous as you can. Or you can go to freespeech.org. As a little incentive for joining us, here are a couple of things to consider. If you can give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month, you'll get a signed copy of my book, Toxic Talk, all about right-wing talk radio, who they are, how bad they are, and what the left has to do to get back into talk radio. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, get a copy of Toxic Talk and a copy of my favorite book that I wrote, How the Republicans Stole Religion. They think they have a monopoly on God, and they don't, because God was a liberal, we know that. And if you can do $360 a year, that's $30 a month. These two books, plus a copy of my latest book, The Obama Hate Machine, all about the Koch brothers and the billions of dollars that they spend to try to defeat anything that Barack Obama stands for. So we need your help. We ask for your help because we want to continue this great broadcasting again. You can join us by phone at 877-378-8669 and send your pledge, or go on freespeech.org. Be as generous as you can. We'll keep coming to you every day, and thank you.
On your radio, on TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
26 minutes after the hour, day 3 of the shutdown. Republicans, they're even saying they'll take up a collection to keep the World War II memorial open. Now, stop playing games. Eric Cantor yesterday said, every day we're going to identify one other thing that we want to reopen, right? Just to try to soften the blow a little bit. I think it shows how desperate they are. And, of course, the ultimate game plan is that one by one they will reopen every federal office. Maybe EPA will be next to last. They'll get down to everything has been funded now except the Affordable Care Act, which is what it's all about.
We're on Twitter
Comments.
at BP Show on Twitter. Great place to follow along with the program and chime in. John Soltis says, vets in wheelchairs get to visit the memorial, but will they be able to see a VA doctor?
Good point. Good question.
This is all about. Ann Stoddard says, maybe some of these Republicans should go to the grocery store and help WIC recipients get food for their babies.
Thank you.
Let's see them try that.
Yeah. I mean, if it comes down to this, I have to. Why are World War II veterans? I know this is heretical to say this, but why are World War II veterans just to tour the Washington Monument or the World War II Memorial? Why is that more critical than kids with cancer getting treatment at NIH?
Yeah, I mean, when the GOP says, fight for this, let's see them fight for people who are really in serious trouble.
Right. Bob, calling from San Jose, California. Hey, Bob, early on the West Coast. Thanks.
I got an idea. Why don't they furlough the TSA?
I've said that, Bob. That's no, furlough the TSA and the air traffic controllers.
Yeah, and then let everybody beat up on the Republicans to get them to work, get them to do something.
You know what? If they had longer lines at the airport, it's just like the sequester. This thing with everything would fold fast. I mean, it's crazy to keep them on the job, I believe. Bob is in Margate, Florida on Free Speech TV. Hey, Bob.
Hi, Bill. How you doing?
Great. Go for it.
Bill, this is a civil war they're trying to start. They want to destroy the liberal world, the good world, where people are treated fair. They are also using the Hitler doctrine by blaming the Democrats for everything. And that's what Hitler did. And people listen here to this stuff and they believe it.
Well, unfortunately, they do tell the big lie, and sometimes the big lie works. I think in this case, Bob, people know who is responsible.
This
John
is
Boehner.
the Bill Press Show.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Packman. You won't find good news and good people like us anywhere else, and we depend on you to keep us on the air, so we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. Because more than ever in these days with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need Free Speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful, and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books. Toxic Talk, as told you about. And this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah. What the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book, all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spent just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello? That's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
All right. At 34 minutes after the hour here on a beautiful Tuesday. Boy, we are having a string of marvelous Indian summer days here in our nation's capital. 80 degrees. Just really, really fine weather.
I don't know, man.
Shorts and T-shirt weather.
I made the commitment to go to sweaters and jeans.
Yeah, well,
and so I guess the fall was also furloughed with the shutdown.
That's right. Put them back in the closet.
Yeah.
Don't know. By the way, on the shutdown, of course, we will, or not of course, but we will be talking with Majority Leader Harry Reid at the top of the next hour and get his take on John Boehner and the shutdown and what the Senate is and is not willing to do. Last night, of course, early yesterday evening, 5:30, President Obama down at the White House did meet with the four leaders of Congress from both parties. From the Senate, Harry Reid and Mitch McConnell. From the House, Nancy Pelosi and John Boehner. They met for over an hour. Nothing was accomplished because all John Boehner, the one out of four of them there, all John Boehner would say is, no, we're willing to fund the government, but only if you delay or defund or derail Obamacare. And the president, of course, refuses to do that, which he should. I mean, to tell the truth, I think it would be unconstitutional for the president to say, okay, we'll just drop Obamacare. He can't do that. It was passed by Congress. It's the law of the land. It was signed into law by the president and passed by the Congress. That makes it the law of the land. It was appealed to the Supreme Court of the United States, and they upheld it and said it was constitutional. The president can't just drop it. This was the topic and the key issue in the 2012 election less than a year ago. And the American people, 5 million, by a margin of 5 million, said, no, we want this to continue and President Obama to continue. You can't just less than a year later say, oh, I changed my mind and drop the whole thing because John Boehner wants you to. So that meeting at the White House didn't go anywhere yesterday. Back to your comments and your phone calls on the shutdown day 3. Who's responsible? How long do you think it will last? How we get out of it? And especially, what about these games do you think the American people are falling for this stunt that the Republicans are trying to make out of the World War II memorial? And you don't think that was you don't think that was set up as a public relations stunt? Why do you think that Michelle Bachmann and Louis Gohmert and Steve King just happened to show up at the World War II memorial the same time the TV cameras got there and the wheelchairs arrived?
Isn't that
the veterans
ironic?
Arrived in their wheelchairs? Do you think it was really a coincidence they all arrived at the same time?
Yeah, what a coincidence. By the way, we're on Twitter at BP Show, Definitely want to check us out there. And if you want to watch the show and stream the show live, the video, we send a direct link out there every morning. It's at BP Show on Twitter. By the way, Eric Dondero is a Republican who's very upset or is very happy. He says, hey, Billy boy, you lost a Hollywood Democrat the other day. Comedian Rob Schneider switched to the GOP because of the Democrats' disaster. I wouldn't exactly call Rob Schneider a Hollywood Democrat. I'm not sure the last time he was in a movie.
I wouldn't call him
when he was in The Hot Chick, that was quite a film.
I wouldn't call him necessarily a big Hollywood celebrity.
Yeah, I wouldn't exactly.
right.
But if you want to chime in, go to at BP Show on Twitter. Make sure you follow us there.
Phyllis in Missoula, Montana. Hi, Phyllis.
Good morning, Phil.
Good morning. Nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you, too. I had a question, and I thought maybe you could answer it.
Oh, I don't know.
No, you're pretty smart. Can you tell me why the budget is part of the Constitution, has to be presented to the House and the Senate for voting, yet John Boehner is refusing to put the budget on the floor of the House? Why is it okay to break with the Constitution for the budget, but it's not okay to stop the paychecks of the congressmen, and that's part of because it's part of the Constitution? Why?
Well, just basically because the Congress doesn't give a damn about the Constitution and they can do whatever they want. But you're absolutely right. First of all, it is and the president has made this point, Phyllis, as you know, it's the duty of the Congress to pass the budget, right? That's spelled out in the Constitution. So you could say with this government shutdown, they are violating the Constitution of the United States, right? Now, if you shut down the government, then part and parcel of that is, because they're part of the government, one branch of the government are the members of Congress. So if the people who work for the federal agencies should not be getting a paycheck, then members of Congress should not be getting a paycheck either. The only reason they are is because they have carved out an exception for themselves. So they violated the Constitution there too, fellas. And I guess the only reason they can get away from it is because nobody's going to send out the army or the police to impeach or even introduce a measure to impeach them or put them in jail. So they're flaunting the Constitution. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then they stand there and read it. Remember when they stood up in the House and they read the Constitution to all of us?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe they ought to read it.
That would be a good start, Phyllis. I think the word we're dancing around here is hypocrisy. And this Capitol building right down the street from us reeks of hypocrisy today. And again, I keep coming. I've made the point several times, and I make it every time we have a member of Congress in here. The idea that 800,000 people are not getting a paycheck, and Congress is still getting a paycheck during this furlough. That to me is the greatest outrage of all. Let's go down to Tennessee, Martin, Tennessee. Hello, David.
Hello, Mr. Press. Thank
Bill,
you so
it's
much.
Bill. Thank you. Good morning.
I was just wanting to make the comment that I wondered how many other people caught the duplicity of the GOP in saying they're so concerned about the children with cancer when they weren't concerned about the children in Newtown being shot to death.
Ooh, I hadn't thought of it that way, but yeah, that's a good point, David. Yeah, and by the way, you know, they always say, you've heard them, David, as I have the last couple of days, saying we're here because this is what the people want, right? We're speaking for the people of this country. Yeah, what was it? 90% said there ought to be background checks after Newtown, Connecticut. Yeah, and they didn't care about the people in that case, did they? Shot them down. Glenn, in Chicago, out in Chicago. Hello, Glenn. Good morning.
Good morning, Bill. Thanks for taking my call.
Glad you're there. Right. What's up?
Well, I wanted to say that first-time caller, actually Republican, and I think for once you and I agree.
Uh-oh.
Glad we... Elizabeth! I'm coming, Elizabeth! This is the big one, honey!
I'm glad we finally got there, Glenn.
Here's the general point, is that I think the Republicans made a huge mistake by trying to shut down the government over this Obamacare. I think they should have implemented it all. You made the comment that you thought it was unconstitutional, would be unconstitutional for the president to delay it. I agree with you, but that also goes for the employer mandate and all these little exemptions he's making to it. So you want Obamacare? Implement 100% when it's supposed to do it, and if you don't want to implement it, then my only point is, fine, then go back to Congress and change it the way you want. But
right.
Don't change it by fiat.
Well, that's the important point, Glenn, and I was going to get there, and I'm glad you went there. This is certainly not a perfect law. There are certainly things that are wrong with it. There are certainly ways to improve it, and the way to do it is the way things have always happened in the past. You put in a bill to say this is an amendment to the Affordable Care Act, and you get enough votes, and you get it passed. But you don't shut down the government to say, I want to delay this part, like this medical devices tax. Okay? We could debate. We could all debate. We could have that debate someday. Whether or not people who make pacemakers or artificial hips should pay a 2.3% excise tax. Even Al Franken voted against that, for example, so some liberals could be against it. We could debate that. But the way to debate it is to have a piece of legislation and then debate it. But not to shut down the government, that unless you do this, we're going to shut Yosemite Park and everything down in this entire country, except the things we like. No, that's not the way things ought to work. Thank you, Glenn. Glad we agree on this one.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Pakman. You won't find good news and good people like us anywhere else, and we depend on you to keep us on the air, so we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. Because more than ever in these days with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need Free Speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful, and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books. Toxic Talk, as told you about. And this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah, what the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book, all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spend just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
Seen on Free Speech TV and online on TawkrTV. This is the Bill Press Show.
12 minutes before the top of the hour, while the government was shut down yesterday for the second day in a row. What was Congress up to? Let's find out. Ginger Gibson covers Congress for Politico, joining us on our news line this morning. Ginger, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so a little back and forth yesterday between the House and the Senate, but nothing really accomplished, right?
Oh, they're yelling at each other via television cameras for the most part on the Hill now. Not looking to move much actual legislation. There were a couple of small bills to fund little things that were moved out of the House. Still not clear if they'll come out of the Senate. But in terms of progress to actually bring the shutdown to an end, there wasn't any. A meeting at the White House that produced no chance of ending this anytime soon.
Well, I'm puzzled by that meeting at the White House. I was there earlier in the afternoon. They met for over an hour, Speaker Boehner and Leader Pelosi, and then Leader Reid and Minority Leader Mitch McConnell. They met for over an hour, and they all came out and said we didn't accomplish anything. What did they talk about for an hour?
Wouldn't I have loved to have been a fly on the wall in that meeting?
Yeah.
We know that President Obama told Speaker Boehner that he will not negotiate until they open government back up. That as long as they're keeping government closed, he's not willing to negotiate. But if they open government up, he'll talk. And this is a point that we're going to hear Republicans talking about all day. They think that the best message for them is to say President Obama won't negotiate, and the White House thinks that the best tack for them to take is to refuse to negotiate as long as they put it, they're holding the government hostage.
Well, Leader Reid yesterday, of course, sent a letter to Speaker Boehner saying, fine, you want to change some parts of the Affordable Care Act? We're open to that, right? We're open to negotiating all this stuff. But again, his message, I guess, was the same as the president. But open the government first, right? Then we'll talk.
Correct.
And any response to that from Boehner?
Boehner has not responded to that directly, saying that he wants to have negotiations on these issues now, that they need to be part of the process moving forward. They're at a stalemate, and we're just hearing a lot of talking points at this point. Obama won't negotiate with me. The other side is taking hostages. I mean, at this point, there's no conversations that would produce something actually as a resolution and not just these guys posturing.
Now, what about the latest Republican tactic, which is we're going to identify one by one parts of the government that we think we're willing to reopen, starting with the Smithsonian museums and the World War II Memorial and the national parks, and I don't know, go down the list. I mean, seriously, that's going anywhere?
Well, three of them passed out of the House yesterday.
Right.
One that would fund some cancer research, another the Smithsonian, and the third the District of Columbia. It's unclear whether they'll ever get a vote in the Senate. This is a sort of a complicated tactic. It has led to some real ironic debate on the House floor where Republicans are blasting Democrats for not funding government, not supporting the independence of the District of Columbia, which has not been a traditionally Republican talking point. But they're meant to put the Democrats in a bind, and they're meant to give Republicans some cover, because they're just getting beat up for not funding government, for being responsible for the shutdown, and there's a real political risk for that. So this is an effort to try to take some of that heat off by saying, look, we're trying to fund the important parts of government. And Democrats say, no, you're picking winners and losers, a favorite phrase on the campaign trail, and you can't just fund pieces of it. Fund the whole thing.
So, yeah, I mean, it's sort of the piecemeal approach. I have seen numbers as high as 20 Republicans now who say they would vote for a clean resolution, joining every Democrat. There's certainly enough votes to pass, we know, a clean resolution. Are these 20 Democrats, are they likely to come forward and challenge Speaker Boehner and demand a vote, or can they?
I think one important thing to note here is that these 20 Republicans have been willing to vote for a clean CR from day one. If you had given them a clean CR 2 weeks ago, they'd have voted for it.
Oh, I see. So it doesn't mean that this is growing.
The numbers are growing, but there's been guys in this caucus the whole time, and there just aren't enough of them to outweigh the guys on the other side of their caucus who are pulling for this fight. And so if Boehner put the bill on the floor, they were saying weeks ago that it would have passed, maybe even with just 100 Democrats. Now they're looking at nearly 200 Democrats. Are they going to come forward? Probably not any more than they are now. But they've been there all along, and given the opportunity, would vote to end this.
Yeah, I just wonder why. I mean, maybe there are not as many of them as there are Tea Party people, but why they don't come forward and challenge Boehner from the other side, Isn't there something that they can sign that forces a vote on a measure? I forget what it's called.
The discharge petition will not work at this point. It requires 30 days. The bill has to sit in committee for 30 days. So unless you want a month-long shutdown, that's not going to help us.
That discharge petition. Okay. All right. Well, now we know what didn't happen yesterday, Ginger. We'll see what doesn't happen today on the Hill. Thank you so much for getting up early for us. Thanks.
Thank you.
Ginger Gibson at Politico, Politico.com.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Packman. You won't find good news and good people like us anywhere else, and we depend on you to keep us on the air, so we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. because more than ever in these days with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need free speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful, and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books. Toxic Talk, as told you about. And this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah, what the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book, all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spend just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Leader Harry Reid at the top of the next hour on the Bill Press Show. Peter.
Quick story, because in my house, we're watching The Simpsons now with the kids. We love the old Simpsons episodes. They made the announcement. They're coming up on their 25th season, which is remarkable.
Really?
But they're going to kill off a character. They haven't killed off a character since 2000 when they killed off Ned Flanders' wife. One of the characters is going to die. They didn't say which one. No, you have to watch and see. 25th season.
It's like the last episode of The Sopranos. Oh, my God. Harry Reid, coming up next.
This is the Bill Press Show.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Okay, friends and neighbors, we'll get back to this morning's programming in just a second here, but first a little word with you about Free Speech TV. Well, they did it, they did it. Yep, damn Republicans shut down the government, and you know what? They shut down the government because they ran out of money. Well, we're going to have to shut down free speech if we run out of money. No, we're not going to shut it down, but we do need your help to keep going here with the great programming on Free Speech TV. I'm the new kid on the block, but Tom Hartman, Amy Goodman, Democracy Now!, David Pakman been here a long time, and the kind of programming that you get on Free Speech TV. I ran into someone yesterday who was so excited. He said, Free Speech, I love it because they broadcast the Netroots Conference every year. He said, all kinds of good stuff on free speech, but without any corporate money, that's how we can be so independent. without any government money, without any political campaign ads running on Free Speech TV. It's all up to you, our viewers across this great land of ours, to keep us going. So I ask you to go to our the toll-free number, 877-378-8669, and make your pledge. Or go to the website, freespeech.org. And if you're already a supporter of Free Speech TV, we thank you and ask you to renew your sponsorship at this time. And if not, if you're new to free speech like I am, then join up and keep us going, keep us on the air. If you can help us with $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. Send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk, about the right-wing radio world and all the crazies who are on there, and also about the good lefties who are on talk radio, like me and Tom Hartman and Stephanie Miller and Ed Schultz, and how we can, what liberals have to do to really level the playing field. If you can help us with $240 a year, which is just $20 a month for all this good programming, a copy of Toxic Talk, and a copy of How the Republicans Stole Religion, which refutes the Republicans' attempt to get a monopoly on faith and to say they're the one faith party and the Democrats are not. And how about it? For $360 a year, that's just $30 a month, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and the latest book, my latest book, The Obama Hate Machine, about the Koch brothers, the evil Koch brothers and their big machine, which is trying to pollute American politics. So that's what we've got to offer to you for $120, for $240, for $360 a year. Help us out here at Free Speech TV, because we're proud to be so independent, just interested in telling the truth every day with no corporate influence at all. We can only do that with your help right here on Free Speech TV. The number again, 877-378-8669. Or you can go to freespeech.org. Back to the news.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is The Bill Press Show.
Day number 3 of the government shutdown, and Republicans are saying, no, we want to keep it shut down maybe until October 17, but we'll open the World War II Memorial. Yeah, nice try. Good morning, everybody. What do you say? Thursday, October 3rd. Great to see you today. Welcome to the Bill Press Show. Booming out to you live all the way across this great land of ours, United States of America, coast to coast. Here we are with all of you on your local progressive talk radio station. With that radio show shown on Free Speech TV, the Dish Network, or DirecTV. And with that video stream on TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV. Let's look at every aspect of this shutdown. Who's responsible? How long do you think it would last? Who's getting hurt? How do we get out of it? Who's right? Who's wrong? Should President Obama cave in? And will Republicans, moderate, sensible, common sense Republicans, be willing to stand up and tell John Boehner, hey, you don't need to follow the Tea Party. We got your back. We'll be all right. Just ignore the Tea Party. But Boehner doesn't seem to have enough backbone to even consider that. Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning leading up our team here this morning, as always.
Good morning.
With the help of Alicia Cruz on the phones, and the phones have really been humming the last couple of days over the government shutdown. Cyprian Bolding on the video cam, our videographer extraordinaire, keeping us looking as good as anybody can, I guess, huh? All right, good morning, guys. Everything good?
Hey.
Everything's great.
I'll tell you, the shutdown is causing a lot of pain. It's also providing a lot of material, of course, for late-night comics. From Jon Stewart to Jay Leno. Jay Leno last night talking about those responsible and what we could compare them to.
Scientists in Stockholm say hundreds of jellyfish have shut down a nuclear reactor. Hey, that's not in our country. A bunch of spineless jellyfish have shut down the entire government, okay? So that is nothing. This is unbelievable. The government is shut down, huh? Even Al-Qaeda couldn't do that. Do you realize that? And as you know, all non-essential employees were sent home, like President Obama's economic team. They all got sent home. Well, to all you non-essential employees who've been forced out of your job, hey, I work for NBC. I know how you feel. Okay. I know how you feel.
I have to say, I think the phrase spineless jellyfish is a little redundant there. At any rate, I've never seen jellyfish with a spine. We are going to start this hour with our conversation with Majority Leader Harry Reid, Democratic Leader of the United States Senate. Evan McMorris-Santoro from Buzzfeed will be here next hour with us as a friend of Bill, and we will be joined by Colleen Hanabusa, who is a Congresswoman for the state of Hawaii. But first,
this is the Full Court Press.
Other headlines making news on this Thursday in sports. Playoff baseball last night. The Tampa Bay Rays silenced the Cleveland Indians 4-0 in the American League Wild Card game. It's impressive for the Rays, who played in their third city in 4 days. They've won 9 of their last 11. The Indians' playoff drought continues. They have not won a World Series title since the 1940s. The Rays next head to Boston for a best-of-5 division series against the Red Sox. That starts tomorrow. Tonight, the National League Division Series kicks off. The Pittsburgh Pirates facing the St. Louis Cardinals.
Okay, I got to, and this is so complicated now, I have to learn this all over again. So, the Tampa Bay Rays play the Red Sox, right? Now, the winner of that series doesn't go to the World Series.
No, they go to the Championship Series.
They go to the Championship Series, and that decides who goes to the World Series.
Right.
It's too complicated. It's
so
too long.
The winner of that series has to play the winner.
No, they threw that other little mix in there.
We're already past the mix. We're past the mix now. So now
we're not. Now we're into it. We have to have the
Detroit plays Oakland and Tampa Bay plays Boston.
These are the playoffs.
That's the playoffs. That's how it works.
Yeah, but they don't go to. Then the winner of those two games
go to the Championship Series. And then the winners of that go to the World Series.
I would hear your argument.
No,
I could hear your argument if you were talking about the wild card, but we're past the wild card. We're done with that. We're into the actual playoffs.
Just go to the World Series.
Well, I mean, you have to figure out who goes to the World Series.
Okay.
What do you think? We should draw them like a lottery to see who goes to the World Series?
Chelsea Clinton is hinting that her parents, Bill and Hillary, may become grandparents next year. The 33-year-old former first daughter telling Glamour magazine she and her husband want to, God willing, start a family. She says they're making 2014 their year of the baby and says you can call her mom and tell her that because she asks about it every single day.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah, right. Not that there's any pressure coming from Hillary. Yeah.
Right.
Bill, every time he opens his mouth, he talks about, I want to live long enough to be a granddad.
And yesterday we said goodbye to best-selling author Tom Clancy, passing away at the age of 66. The native Marylander was the author of the popular Jack Ryan military thriller series, including The Hunt for Red October, Patriot Games, and Clear and Present Danger, among others, all top bestsellers on the New York Times list. His latest book, Command Authority, is due to come out in December.
You know what I love about the fact that he was selling insurance in Maryland and quit and started writing and wrote his first book, Hunt for the Red October, and sold it to a publishing house in Annapolis that only published like maritime books, you know, about boating and sailing and stuff. And this is the first fiction book, and boom,
that
pretty
dude
awesome.
was renting money in his day.
He was, and the other thing is, he said, I saw last night at one point, he said, do you know why nothing ever good gets done in Washington? He said, because we keep electing idiots.
You're behind that?
I can get behind that, especially these days. Man, I got to tell you. Yes, indeed, a back and forth yesterday between the House and the Senate. And we were lucky enough to catch up with Majority Leader Harry Reid late yesterday afternoon, just before he walked into that meeting with the President of the United States. I started out asking Leader Reid, pointing out that Speaker Boehner had said, look, we have already acted in the House. Now we could resolve this thing if only the Senate would be reasonable and accept our terms. Leader Reid, what's your reaction?
Well, they've sure acted, but they have acted irresponsibly and dangerously, and it's hard to comprehend that because of their hatred for Obama's signature legislative accomplishment, they're willing to shut down the government. You know, Bill, if you look back over the years, there have been other pieces of legislation that other leaders have hated. I hated the Iraq War. You know, I gave a speech on the Senate floor. You know, I could have closed the government, but I felt that that wasn't the right thing to do. As much as I dislike that war, there are certain things that are more important than leaders' do's and don'ts. So he has to understand Obamacare is not going to be changed unless we do it in a rational way. We got to take care of this continuing resolution, fund the government, keep the country not defaulting on our debts, as will happen around October 17th. And I'll be happy to sit down, as we made an offer today. Open the government. We'll do a conference on anything you want to go to conference on. I listed this stuff. You want to talk about agriculture? You want to talk about post office? You want to talk about health care? You want to talk about discretionary spending? We'll talk about it all.
And Mr. Leader, you know, even President Obama has said that he recognizes there are some imperfections in the Affordable Care Act. No bill is perfect. Would you, like the president, be willing to talk about some amendments and some changes, some improvements in Obamacare?
Only under the criteria that government opens now and that we get past the debt ceiling. Then we can talk about all that kind of stuff. But they're not going to hold a gun to the president's head or to my head, because my caucuses, all 53 senators that I have, are with me. And as soon as Cory Booker gets here, we'll have 55. So then I'll have 54 with me. So they've got to understand, Obamacare has been the law for almost 4 years. It's been declared constitutional by the Supreme Court of the United States. We have had such wonderful, remarkable success in Nevada and around the country, what it does to help people who are sick and afraid. And then yesterday, the people that signed up and tried to sign up, it reminded me of Google. Google was so ready to do their business. They had no idea, however, of the overwhelming requests they would get. They had their computer equipment go down in a time or two, and it's going to continue to do that here with Obamacare. It's not perfect, but boy, we've signed up people in every state in the union, by lots of them.
And Leader Reid, there has been some flack over a comment that you made on CNN. You were asked on CNN, quote, "If you can help one child who has cancer, why wouldn't you do it?" And your response was, "Why would we want to do that?"
Well, the whole answer is this. Why would we want to have the House of Representatives, John Boehner, cherry pick what stays open, what should be closed? Listen, I gave a speech on the floor talking about the babies, 30 babies, little kids who are not going to have clinical trials. Of course I care about that. I have 16 of my own grandchildren, 5 children. But I also care about the Centers for Disease Control, which within the last few weeks discovered a terrible outbreak that killed people. They found, with their expertise that they have, that it was coming from, what are those big pomegranate seeds that came from some foreign country. They are not working today. They're not working today looking for the next scourge that affects people. These things the fires they put out every week and across America is because they are good. CDC is basically closed now. So what I told Dana Bash, who is a fine reporter, is that we care about all these things. We care about our state parks. We care about our veterans. But we can't fall into the trap. And here is the trap of the Cruz-led Republicans. And that is this. Listen, we'll cherry pick. We'll open this today and this tomorrow and this tomorrow. And finally, at the end, everything will be open except the money to finish Obamacare. But what Dr. Coburn has said, this is ridiculous. Because Obamacare, if nothing happens, about 90% of it's funded anyway. But they are so mercenary, so determined to destroy the president's signature issue that they would even go to the extremes of shutting down the government.
Do you consider Senator Cruz a positive force in this debate and in the Senate?
Let's see. I can't force a laugh, so you'll just have to pretend I laugh.
I'll laugh for you.
Okay.
Let me ask you this, Senator. How you know these people well? How long do you think that Republicans in the House are going to drag this out? There's some talk from Paul Ryan that they might take it all the way to the debt ceiling deadline, which now is October 17.
I hope all their rich friends, Wall Street and otherwise, who kowtow to these Republican extremists, will finally come to the realization that they're not good for the country. Think about that. They're willing to not only shut down the government as they have done, but they're willing to take the country over the brink on the debt ceiling because they want to focus on 10% of Obamacare. They are just obsessed with this. And remember what I said earlier, and I say again. Social Security, great program. They oppose that. Medicare, a great program. They oppose that. Obamacare is going to be as big as both those programs, and give us 3 or 4 years, people will feel about Obamacare like they feel about Social Security and Medicare today.
Is there, final question, Leader Reid, and I'll let you go. Is there any concession that you would make in return for the House Republicans agreeing?
We did it today. I wrote a letter to Speaker Boehner. I talked to him on the phone. The letter said, you've talked about wanting to go to conference. Open the government, and we will go to conference on anything you want to go to conference on. We think there should be a long-term a solution to the economic problems of this country. They say that's what they want. We're willing to do it. Patty Murray would lead the charge as my chair of my budget committee.
But they must reopen the government first.
First, yeah. We're not going to get into this. Okay, well, you agree to have a conference with us, and then we'll open the government. You know, that's a trick that a fourth grader wouldn't fall for.
So your message to the House Republicans is what, Leader Reid?
My message to the American people is we should have a functioning government, and we should not have these right-wing extremists, these anarchists, who believe in no government. You know, we have House members boasting about finally we were able to close a government. I'm not making this up. Michelle Bachmann and others, that's what they've said. We're glad the government's closed. Think about that.
Majority Leader Harry Reid on fire and saying, no. Look, we're willing to negotiate, but we'll negotiate once Republicans reopen the government. By the way, Senator, again, we had that conversation just before he walked into that meeting with the president yesterday. He made news by clarifying his remark. He wasn't saying we don't care about kids with cancer. He was saying we care about kids with cancer and everybody else who needs help from the federal government. And it's ridiculous to try to open one little branch of it at a time and one little piece of it at a time. You can't cherry pick it. That made a lot of news yesterday afternoon. Our interview with Majority Leader Harry Reid. What do you think? And we'll tell you more about the Republicans trying to make the World War II memorial. That's what they want to. Now that they've closed it down, they want to make a big issue of it here on the Bill Press Show. 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hey, good morning, everybody. What do you say? This is Bill Press here. We'll be back to today's broadcast with all of our great guests in just a moment here. But first, just a word about Free Speech TV. You know, I started my nationally syndicated radio show in 2005, almost 8 years ago now. And I've also done, think about it, this is my fifth national television show on CNN. I was co-host of Crossfire. I was co-host of The Spin Room. On MSNBC, I was co-host of Buchanan and Press for several years. On Current TV, did a show called Full Court Press, and now the Bill Press Show on Free Speech TV. And I've got to tell you, in all that time, with all those different networks, all those different shows, I never felt as at home and as comfortable and as good about what I'm doing as I do right now on Free Speech TV. I'm so glad to be part of this great network that brings you people like Tom Hartman and Amy Goodman and David Pakman. So proud to join that lineup. But, you know, and this is the kind of media, the reason I feel so comfortable, because totally independent, totally free to talk about whatever we want to talk about. You get to get involved in the conversation. And that's the kind of broadcasting you'll find nowhere else. It's truly independent, truly transparent, truly truthful, speaking truth to power every day. And that's what we need in this country. But, of course, without any corporate money, without any political ads, without any government money, free speech depends on you to keep us going and to keep this great lineup coming to you every day. So we ask you, if you're already a supporter of free speech, to renew your sponsorship. If you're new to free speech like I am, then join us any way you can. Go to 877-378-8669 and send us whatever support you can. Be as generous as you can. Or you can go to freespeech.org. As a little incentive for joining us, here are a couple of things to consider. If you can give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month, you'll get a signed copy of my book, Toxic Talk, all about right-wing talk radio, who they are, how bad they are, and what the left has to do to get back into talk radio. For $240 a year, that's $20 a month, get a copy of Toxic Talk and a copy of my favorite book that I wrote, How the Republicans Stole Religion. They think they have a monopoly on God, and they don't, because God was a liberal, we know that. And if you can do $360 a year, that's $30 a month. These two books, plus a copy of my latest book, The Obama Hate Machine, all about the Koch brothers and the billions of dollars that they spend to try to defeat anything that Barack Obama stands for. So we need your help. We ask for your help because we want to continue this great broadcasting. Again, you can join us by phone at 877-378-8669 and send your pledge, or go on freespeech.org Be as generous as you can. We'll keep coming to you every day, and thank you.
Show.
27 minutes after the hour now. David Jackson covers the White House for USA Today. Will be joining us sometime in the next half hour to let us know what might be happening on the shutdown front down at the White House today. Meanwhile, with a comment, here is Jim from out in River Grove, Illinois. Hello, Jim. Good morning.
Bill, listen, my big concern is that these Republicans and these right-wing extremists are going to start tilting this thing where they're going to blame Obama and the Democrats for this, when they're the ones that brought it up. These are people who don't play by the rules. I mean, if you listen to Sean Hannity and Rush Limbaugh, they're complaining about the fact that the World War II Memorial isn't open. And their donations are up to the Republican Party. What the heck is going on? How do we counteract this?
Well, by the way, Jim, there's no doubt they're going to try to blame it on Obama. I don't think it's going to work. There's also no doubt. We talked about this earlier. We'll talk about it some more in the next half hour. They're trying to make the World War II Memorial, the symbol of President Obama's failure to resolve this problem. I don't think the American people are fooled on this. Certainly the media is not fooled. They are the ones who shut down the memorial. They are the ones that the veterans ought to be pissed off about. They're the ones who have shut down the entire government. And of course, Sean Hannity and Matt Drudge are going to talk about that, try to make a big issue of it. Remember, they are nothing but creatures of the Republican National Committee. We want to get more of your calls about this World War II Memorial flap and the shutdown coming up at 866-55-PRESS.
This is the Bill Press Show.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Packman. You won't find good news and good people like us anywhere else, and we depend on you to keep us on the air, so we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. Because more than ever in these days with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need Free Speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful, and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books. Toxic Talk, as told you about. And this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah, what the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book, all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spend just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look, your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Thursday morning, October 3rd. Before we get back to your calls and your comments, a couple of points here on the shutdown. I find this very, very interesting. We're in this mess because of one man only, John Boehner, because John Boehner refuses to defy the Tea Partiers, and the Tea Partiers, 20 of them or more, have him by the balls, and they will take his speakership away, they say, if he does not go along with them in trying to shut down Obamacare. He's not willing to take that risk. So he says, unless I have a majority of the members of my majority, unless I follow the Hastert rule, we won't have a vote on the government, on funding the government. The Hastert rule, he says, has to apply. On the Daily Beast this morning, Eleanor Clift has interviewed Denny Hastert, and Denny Hastert said, "What Hastert rule? There's no Hastert rule."
Oh, God.
Yeah. He says, "I never intended." He said, "We never passed any rule, and I never intended." He said, "I philosophically once at a news conference said something about I'd like to have all my Republicans with me." But he said he thinks it's stupid. There's no Hastert rule. So this whole thing.
Debunked.
Yeah, totally debunked. And then the other thing is, okay, so Republicans have they know they're in deep doo-doo over this thing, right? Because American people are really starting to get pissed off. So they're trying to restore their reputation by showing how reasonable they are. There are little pieces of the government that they're willing to reopen to show that they're not really the meanies, but we know they are. And, of course, they've focused on the World War II memorial because there's a program to bring World War II vets here, most of them in wheelchairs, so they can see the World War II memorial on the Washington Mall. And that is, like every monument in Washington, shut down. So the very first day, right, Republicans ran down there. Now, this is crazy because what they're saying is, this is terrible. Look what President Obama did. He won't let these World War II vets come in here. No. President Obama had nothing to do with this. This was the Republican House caucus that shut down the government. This is John Boehner that shut down the government. And, of course, it just so happens that when the TV cameras, when the veterans show up in their wheelchairs, the TV cameras arrive and Republican members of Congress arrive. It's all a setup. It's all a photo op. And, of course, they're led by, here she is, Michelle Bachmann. She's interviewed by Evan McMorris-Santoro here, by the way, who asks the right question. He's our guest as a friend of Bill in the next hour.
Well, every day there's a shutdown. We're going to be here to make sure the veterans get in.
Oh.
There'll be some members of Congress here to make sure they get in.
But isn't it Congress that shut the memorial down?
No, absolutely not. Because what we did is we sent over 4 different funding bills to fully fund government to fund this memorial to make sure it shuts down. We sent them over, and Harry Reid refused to even look at them, and President Obama wouldn't deal at all.
Oh, no, it's not our fault. We had nothing to do with it. It's all Harry Reid and President Obama. Unbelievable. And so she says, so that first day when we heard these World War vets, we're going to get, I mean, if you listen to them, they think they were going to get mugged or clubbed or tear gassed or whatever. So she went down there with all the tools she needed to help them get in.
It's really wrong. I mean, it's real people get hurt. And so, unfortunately, these veterans were locked out. He came with the scissors and cut the scissors on this yellow tape and got these veterans in. They deserve that, and they shouldn't be caught up in the middle of this tomfoolery that's going on.
Oh, this tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery.
Mm-hmm. Her husband, Marcus, taught her that word because he fools around with Tom. But so she shows up. Yeah, they were locked out, right? So she shows up. They were locked out. How do you break the locks? We have scissors to cut.
Yeah.
We have scissors to cut the yellow tape. God, don't fall for this nonsense. Beverly is out in St. David. Peter, comment. Beverly out in St. David, Illinois. Sorry.
Hi, Bill. How are you?
Beverly, I'm steamed up this morning. How about you?
I'm just as steamed and probably hotter, darling. What the president needs to do is this. He needs to go on primetime, buy all primetime, including Fox.
Yep.
And he needs to get on there and have pictures, large pictures, of all 25 or 50 or whatever of these damn anarchists, and that's what they are, and they're corporate anarchists. Each one is owned by the Koch brothers or some other corporation. And go through each district and tell, they don't want to Obamacare, and here's how many people are uninsured in each district.
Beverly, you are so right. I love you. I love you, baby. Listen,
I love you too, Bill.
I've been saying that the president needs to go call them out by name and their district. Absolutely, and in their district there are people who need Obamacare and who want to sign up and who will sign up, right? But I mean, the American people have to know who's responsible, and the president's got to do that. I agree. Name them out. Name names, right?
Needs to do is to mention out of those 25, how many of those son of a guns, I would have used another word, are doctors.
Yeah, right. And how many of them are getting their paycheck, Beverly, too? You know that every last damn one of them. Thanks, Beverly. Beverly, I want her on my side.
Man.
When we stormed the barricades.
She's no joke.
Rose is in Ligonier, Indiana. Hi, Rose.
Hi.
Hey, what do you think?
Yeah. I would like to say they are not to buckle this time. They held a gun the last time to their heads. I think it's probably why they don't want gun control. But no buckle this time.
Absolutely.
They can't take and piecemeal what they want and what they don't want. Call your representatives. I called mine, Marlon Stutzman, and to break it down to childish language, I put it to him this way. Just because you don't get everything you want on your Christmas list doesn't mean you shoot Santa Claus.
Yes, Rose, that's it. I mean, the people
bring our callers to Washington, and they will sort this out.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Absolutely. That's exactly. It is. It does remind you of little kindergarten kids, right? They throw a temper tantrum, Rose, because they don't get everything they want.
Well, the same thing is, I swear to God, Yogi Bear's got to have better lobbyists than we do. They're worried about the national parks. Hey, picnic basket. Come on.
Oh, I haven't heard the Yogi Bear lines. Well, Scooby-Doo, we got to have Scooby-Doo here. Oh, exit to the left.
Picnic basket. Oh, man.
I'm telling you, this is what we need. We need people like Rose and Beverly on the Washington Mall,
Seriously,
right? We need them
absolutely.
storming the United States Capitol. I said it the first day, those 800,000 furloughed employees ought to be here in Washington, and they ought to be marching around that Capitol and shut this baby down. Got close there.
Turn this mother out.
I got close. Steve in Chicago. Hi, Steve.
Hi. How you doing?
All right. Yeah. We're into it this morning. What's up? What do you think?
Well, I'm pissed almost as much with the Democrats for not standing up to them and fighting hardball. Harry Reid screwed up when we did the filibuster. The filibuster was wrong. It was wrong.
Yep.
Whenever they changed it, and he had a chance to change it at the beginning of the year, he didn't.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, he's been standing up on this stuff, Steve, I think. He's been pretty... He and the president... I admit they've caved in too many times in the past, but on this one, they're hanging in there.
Yeah, but we got to fight back with the filibuster. We have the right to change it. We had the right to change it at the beginning of the year. If they're going to play...
Whoa. Yeah, we have to fix the filibuster. Right now, we got to get the government back open, Steve. And the filibuster doesn't apply in the Senate on this thing because they got enough votes. They got enough Republican and Democratic votes. The Senate's not the problem. It's the House Republicans that are the problem. And by the way, I repeat, you're from Illinois. You know, they keep citing this. They're following the Hastert rule. Dennis Hastert says, what rule? There's no rule. He doesn't approve of what they're doing. All right, real quickly, one final call. John is out on the West Coast, Bellevue, Washington. Hey, John.
Hey, how you doing?
All right, good.
It's Bellevue, Michigan, partner.
Oh, I'm sorry, partner.
Yeah, just south of Snyder.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
What I wanted to talk about is Congress, the way they're doing that. You know, that's Reagan set a precedent way back in the air traffic controller strike. If you remember that.
Yeah.
The guys in Congress probably aren't even old enough to remember that or to have ever been taught about it. But I think they should possibly, you know, every other job, they're drug testing them, alcohol testing them, and psychologically testing them to get their job. How in the hell are these people doing what they're doing?
Well, let's put it this way, John. If they had all three of those tests, particularly the last one, I think we get rid of a lot of members of Congress for sure. Appreciate the calls. David Jackson is down at the White House. He was there yesterday evening for the big summit meeting between the congressional leaders. He'll bring us up to date with events at that end of Pennsylvania Avenue when we come back here. Stay with us on the Bill Press Show.
Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Hi, friends. This is Bill Press on Free Speech TV. Can't tell you how proud I am to be part of the new lineup here on Free Speech TV. It's been around for a long time. It's a great, great independent source of good, liberal, progressive broadcasting every day. We start out the day, but then, of course, moving on to such great friends as Amy Goodman and Tom Hartman, David Pakman. You won't find good news and good people like us anywhere else. And we depend on you to keep us on the air. So we can visit together every day, find out what's going on, and talk about it. So we need your help to stay on the air, and the number to call to help is 877-378-8669. Of course, you can also go online and contribute at freespeech.org. Help us raise the money necessary to keep this programming coming to your home every day and in 38 million other homes around the nation. Because more than ever in these days with so much corporate media, we need media that is independent, that is transparent, that is truthful. We need free speech TV. Now, to maybe encourage you to give as much as you can, we're offering some gifts to you, depending on your level of contribution. First, for those of you who give $120 a year, that's just $10 a month. We'll send you a copy of my book, Toxic Talk. Toxic Talk is all about talk radio, how talk radio is dominated by the right wing, how they got to be so powerful, and what liberals have to do to get some balance on the airwaves across the nation. And I expose some of the real lies told by many of the right-wing talk radio hosts. That's for $120 a year. For $240 a year, that's just $20 a month. We'll give you 2 books, Toxic Talk, as told you about, and this is my favorite book, the favorite book that I've written, How the Republicans Stole Religion. Yeah, what the Gospels really say and how the Republicans distort it, but how they get away with it. And for $360 a year, that's $30 a month, you'll get these 2 books, Toxic Talk, How the Republicans Stole Religion, and The Obama Hate Machine as well, which is my latest book, all about the Koch brothers and all the money that they spend just to try to bring down President Obama and to defeat all of his policies. That's why your help is so important. We are here on Free Speech TV, bringing you the truth every day, the news every day. Help us stay on the air by giving as much as you can. Thank you.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
All right, pretty busy day down at the White House yesterday. It turned out we saw a group of leaders from Wall Street meeting with the president, coming out and talking to reporters afterwards. And then the big 4, Reid, McConnell, and Boehner and Pelosi down meeting with the president late yesterday afternoon. On top of it all, for USA Today, our good friend David Jackson, who's at the White House already. David, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, so let's start with the meeting of the congressional leaders last night. They met for longer than I expected, right?
Longer than anyone, 70 minutes. There was actually, we went so long, people were starting to think there might be some kind of breakthrough, but that turned out to be not the case.
So what I was wondering, David, is what the hell did they talk about all that time?
I think everyone reiterated their positions, and we got 5 people who like to talk doing that. I guess that expands the time. There hasn't been a lot of background on this meeting. The only thing I know for sure is that Boehner outlined his proposal for another grand bargain, to tie the debt ceiling and the continuing resolution into maybe entitlement reform and locking in the sequester and some other things that the Republicans are looking for. But as far as the White House is concerned, that's a non-starter because they're not going to negotiate anything until the government reopens.
By the way, I want to be sure I'm correct on this. They say they want to tie it to the debt ceiling, which means they'll drag this thing out until October 17. They don't have to wait until October 17 to deal with the debt ceiling, do they?
No, and I don't think they'd probably say that. I think they'd probably do it tomorrow if the president accepted accepted everything Boehner laid out last night.
Yeah.
They could probably get this done tomorrow, but I just don't think that's going to happen.
And Boehner was there without any of the Tea Partiers around him, but I guess he held his line, right? Held his ground.
He's been talking to a lot of from what I understand, he's been talking to a lot of his members on the Hill in private, trying to push the revival of the grand bargain, if you will. And I don't know how his colleagues feel about it, but here again, the White House has come out now and made public something they've been saying privately for a while. Not only are they not going to negotiate on the debt ceiling, they're not going to negotiate anything until the government's reopened.
Until the government's reopened.
Right.
You and I were there when the financial leaders came out. Their message was pretty strong as well, and they said they were going to deliver that same message to Speaker Boehner.
Right, and I think that's what they're doing. And I think the business meeting, and I think the president's speech today at a local construction company is going to be similar. He's kind of shifting attention from the shutout to the debt ceiling, because that's the real ball game there, and that certainly was a bigger interest for the Wall Street people yesterday. I think they can deal with the shutdown, but the debt ceiling and a possible government default, I think, would create real problems for Wall Street.
So how serious a problem for the White House is the World War II memorial little shenanigans over there?
Well, they feel like it's all political, and they've I guess the barriers are down now, and they're trying to make accommodations for veterans groups that want to visit there. They feel like the whole thing's been politicized, whereas the Republicans say the administration is going out of its way to barricade these national monuments in order to increase the pain of the shutdown.
It's such the way things happen in this town, right? It is such a coincidence that Michelle Bachmann and all those Republican members of Congress just happened to show up when the veterans did in their wheelchairs, and the TV cameras showed up. At
TV cameras too. Yeah, it was a Mississippi congressman. I guess there was a delegation from Mississippi that wanted to go up there and were upset by the blockade, and I think that's where it started. And a lot of other House Republicans came over to join in the parade. Now, I got to tell you, that didn't get a lot of attention at the White House. There's so many moving parts. Even this Air Force Navy game is something that's reached the presidential level, where I expect to hear Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel to sign off on a deal that would let the Air Force and Army football teams travel this weekend.
I saw, by the way, this morning that he's made that decision. And,
right, that's what I'm hearing too.
Right,
yeah.
and the game will be played. So, you and I have seen the official schedule. Not much on it today. The president speaking to the small business out nearby Maryland here, but unofficially, in the background, what's going to be happening today at the White House? What do you expect?
I think aides, congressional liaisons will be in contact with their people on the Hill, but the White House is pretty much on record now. They're kind of going to stay out of it. It's up to Congress to resolve this mess. One other thing that's going on is they've got to make a decision about whether to go to these economic summits in Asia.
I was just going to ask you that. Yeah, do they go?
I think it's 50-50 now. I think the president really does want to go. He's got a lot of things that he thinks he needs to do there. We're getting down to the final negotiations on what they call the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which is a big trade deal involving Asia. I think he wants to meet with the president of China while he's there. He wants to do some other bilats. There's talk of a bilat with Putin, talk about Syria.
Oh.
So, this would be a very newsy trip if he, in fact, went. And President Obama feels like it's a very valuable trip, and he definitely wants to go. And I think he's kind of putting pressure on his folks to go. So one of the things they're talked about is truncating it even further to where he would try to get back he would leave on Saturday and get back as soon as late Tuesday night. So I don't know how it's all going to fall out, but he wants to go, and we'll see how it plays out.
Right. They've got to make that decision too, and we've got a briefing today at 12:30. So I will see you down there, and thanks for taking time for us this morning.
Great. Thank you, Bill.
All right. Thank you. David Jackson. Nobody does a better job covering the White House. Former president of the White House Correspondents Association. By the way,
this is the Bill Press Show.
Okay, almost 2 hours down, another hour coming up, and you want to stay with us. If you're watching on Free Speech TV, we're going to lose you, but you can switch over and still watch us. Watch our video stream at TawkrTV. That's youtube.com/TawkrTV. Evan McMorris-Santoro is going to be here as a friend of Bill for the entire hour, and we will be joined by somebody right from the inside on the whole battle over the shutdown, Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa from Hawaii. Hope you join us as well. TawkrTV.
Don't look at me. Your hair's a bit frizzy today. Aww, you should pick that up. Oh, you're such a dork, loser. loser. Here, let me help you with that. Oops.
Every day, kids witness bullying.
Oh, look. Your crush is looking at you. Poor you.
They want to help, but don't know how.
See, no one here's gonna help you, because no one
Teach your
likes
kids how to be more than a bystander. Visit stopbullying.gov.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
Here at the GED Pep Talk Center, we have pep talkers standing by to get you motivated for your GED diploma. Text the name Terry to 69222 for a sympathetic pep talk.
You show people what you really are.
Or for a gentle pep talk, text the name Deborah.
You know you're going to make people very proud of you.
And if that's not enough, text the name Danny for an extreme pep talk.
Prove everyone wrong. Show them you're the boss.
Get your GED pep talk and find free GED classes. Text the name of the person you want a pep talk from to 69222.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show.
All right, so we're just talking with David Jackson about the president's schedule today. He will be leaving the White House at about 10 o'clock this morning to go to nearby... exactly where this it's right in suburban Maryland. The M. Lewis Construction Company. It may even be in the district. Doesn't give an address here on the schedule today. And there he's going to be talking about the shutdown and how it's impacting small business around the country. Then back to the White House, and he and the Vice President get the daily briefing today at noon, which is unusual. Usually it's the first thing in the morning. Our hour briefing with Jay Carney will be at 12:30. When we come back, Evan McMorris-Santoro covers the White House for Buzzfeed. He'll be joining us here in studio as a friend of Bill for the entire hour. And then Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa from Hawaii will be here to tell us what's going on just down the street in the Capitol.
This is The Bill Press Show. broadcasting around the nation, on your radio, on your TV, and online. This is the Bill Press Show.
Day number 3 of the government shutdown, and John Boehner refuses to budge. So we'll go another day with this nonsense, and now Boehner is actually saying maybe we'll just, we like this shutdown so much, we like keeping people out of work so much, we like hurting people so much, maybe we'll drag it out until October the 17th. Getting worse and worse, folks. Good morning, good morning. Good to see you today. It is the Bill Press Show. This is hour number 3 here. We're coming to you live from our studio on Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C. Just down the street from the Madhouse, the playpen, actually. It's sort of like a kindergarten's playground. That's what these people are acting like there on Capitol Hill. And we're just about 4 or 5 metro stops away from the White House, where President Obama called congressional leaders together last night. They met for 70 minutes. Nothing was accomplished. We'll talk about it this hour with our guest and with all of you. You can join the conversation at 866-55-PRESS. You can join us on Twitter, of course, at BP Show, and on Facebook at facebook.com/BillPressShow. The Bill Press Show, your morning radio show on your local progressive talk radio station. And this hour, video streaming at TawkrTV, youtube.com/TawkrTV. Peter Ogburn and Dan Henning with us.
Hey there.
Team
Good morning.
members, of course, with Alicia Cruz standing by on the phones. And
she's just getting our next guest, who's right on time.
And
so
hunting down
she's working on that.
Hunting down our guest, making sure he's got all the coffee he needs.
Yeah.
You know, and she also does the dress inspection to make sure that they are wearing the proper attire.
He's taking advantage of the complimentary Bill Press Show shoe shine that we have, and he's just getting his hair trimmed up.
When our guests
because we can't get it in the Capitol.
And then the makeup and all of that.
Got to stop by the makeup
It's a whole procedure.
And make sure that the tie matches the jacket.
And the last thing we want is a guest to come in wearing something that you're wearing, or that would clash with what you're wearing. You know what I'm talking about.
So we have the wardrobe people check him out, too. Before he's allowed in the studio. And that's why sometimes, with all of that preparation, they're a little late taking their seat.
Look who's here!
I mean, how do I look? Did it work out all right?
You look great. You look great.
Good.
Where the hell have you been?
I have been...
He thought we were furloughed.
Yeah, I did. I thought that everything went back an hour because I thought this whole hour got shut down. Partially because we're under a partial shutdown, or a slim down. The show is slim. I thought the show might be slimmed down.
Do you thought this was the World War II memorial?
I didn't.
Here we go. Cyprian Bolding, I forgot to mention, our videographer here, who always looks good, by the way. Yes, indeed.
Indeed.
Well, Evan, when you
I'm ready to go.
Hear? You ready?
Oh yeah,
to go?
I'm ready. I can hear. I can talk. I have coffee in front of me. I'm ready.
All right,
totally
you're ready. So when you're on live television and live radio, you never know. There are those moments when people say things that things just sort of like pop out. This was down in Birmingham, Alabama, on the CBS affiliate, CBS 42. And they were doing a little chit-chat among the anchors before they throw to the weatherman to get the weather for the day. And they end up talking about their dogs and dressing up their dogs. Here's how it came out.
Vests and stuff. I want to see mittens, headgear.
Now, we all have dogs. Have you ever dressed your dog up?
I honestly have not.
Well, you got a big dog. That's probably why.
She's larger.
Yeah. Mark has a little wiener. Have you ever dressed a wiener up?
Yeah.
You dressed a wiener up?
What are you doing?
Mark has a little
actually... I had a bug there for a second. I
thought something happened.
What have you dressed him in, Mark? Come on, be honest.
Mark?
Long John?
Long John.
Really?
Yeah.
Mark is
so adorable, you'd win.
Mark is laughing so hard he can't even get to it.
Let's start off with what's going on our weather headlines this morning. Partly cloudy.
Even the
Weekend
weatherman
showers
breaks
back
up.
in the
Yeah,
forecast.
okay, good.
What do you dress your little wiener in?
I am so glad I made it in.
Yeah.
For this discussion. No, that was like a clip from like an Aaron Sorkin show or something like that. Right? I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, I know.
Little wiener.
Oh, yeah.
Dress that little wiener up.
Dress that little wiener up.
Wrap that
There's Mark.
rascal.
He's got a little wiener. All right. So Evan McMorris-Santoro here from Buzzfeed as a friend of Bill the entire hour, and we will be joined by a member of Congress, Colleen Hanabusa. Never met her. Excited to have somebody come in. She's flown all the way in from Hawaii for this morning's show.
And boy, are her arms tired.
Stop it!
I'm sorry.
That was so funny. I forgot to laugh.
It wasn't funny the first time. I figured maybe I'd have luck the second time.
It was less funny the second time.
Yeah, I'll just show
We'll get right to
myself
it. Find out the latest on the shutdown. But first,
This
the big
is
stories
the
of the
Full
day.
Court Press.
Well, Jay Farrow, the Saturday Night Live star who portrays Barack Obama every week, is speaking out about the show's current cast and a need for greater diversity. He tells thegrio.com that SNL needs to pay attention to who it hires. All 6 new cast members this season are white, and only 1 is a woman. He says the show needs a full-time on-air black female cast member, and he says they are easily found on the comedy circuit.
Yeah, you know what?
I mean, they made fun of this on the show on Saturday. You saw this one, the Tina Fey sketch. Like, is it Arcade Fire or a new cast member? Like,
Yeah.
So they don't. They all do look the same.
They really do.
Yeah. And he was ballsy of him to make that stand.
Good for him. He's
Obama. They have no other.
I was going to say
Obama.
he's got some
right.
clout because the last guy they used as Obama was Fred Armisen, who's funny, horrible Obama. So he does a really good Obama.
He
He
does.
can pretty much say whatever he wants.
It's either him or Keenan is the only other one on there. Right?
He looks like if Obama had been stung by thousands of bees.
Right.
He's a heavy dude. He can't play Obama.
Michael Jackson's family lost its lawsuit against the late King of Pop's concert promoter yesterday. CNN reports a jury ruled AEG Live was not liable in Jackson's death. The ruling states that at the time AEG hired Dr. Conrad Murray as a general practitioner, he was fit and competent to do his job, and their hiring of him was unrelated to Michael Jackson's death. But the jury foreman did say the ruling does not vindicate Dr. Murray.
No, but I hope it silences the Jackson family. Stop just suing and trying to exploit money out of their son's death.
Yeah, I mean, you know what's funny about Michale Jackson is that, other artists, after they die, like, they release new songs you've never heard before.
Yeah.
Jackson is like, there's new legal battles after he's dead. Like, every year there's another one.
Yeah, no, well said.
And Chelsea Clinton is hinting that her parents, Bill and Hillary, may become grandparents next year. The 33-year-old former first daughter telling Glamour magazine that she and her husband want to, quote, God willing, start a family. She says they are making 2014 the year of the baby, and she said you can call her mom and tell her that because she asks about it every single day.
So here's a clue, right, that Bill and Hillary should know. Did they get a dog? That's the clue. If they get a dog, then the baby's next. That's the way it works.
There you go.
Huh? But we'll find out anyhow. Not that there's any pressure from Bill Clinton. Every time he opens his mouth, he says, I want to live long enough to be a granddad.
I would like to not start my morning talking about any Clinton sex lives, frankly.
Okay.
We spent a lot of time talking about the Clinton sex lives.
Although several people have pointed out that during the last government shutdown is when Bill Clinton met Monica Lewinsky.
Absolutely true.
Keep the interns away from Obama.
Listen, the Obama administration has furloughed its interns, which I actually wrote a story about this. It's interesting because Clinton famously didn't. They sort of ran the asylum, as they say, and then that whole thing happened. Obama has furloughed his interns, gaining him praise from all these groups that are now pressuring the White House to pay its interns, that are saying, at least they're not piling more work on them while this government shutdown's going on. So it's an interesting little political story, actually.
All right, you had another. In fact, Evan, you may have shown up late here for this hour, but you've already been on our program twice this morning. We want you to know. Not that we're going to keep reminding you got here late, but
there's many ways to dig that in.
And boy, are my arms tired.
I got to tell you,
you've been on the show twice because of your little interview with Michelle Bachmann. We're going to play it again one more time at the World War II Memorial, where miraculously she just happened to show up the same time the World War II vets in their wheelchairs and the TV cameras showed up. Here she is.
Well, every day there's a shutdown. We're going to be here to make sure the veterans get in. There'll be some members of Congress here to make sure they get in.
But isn't it Congress that shut the memorial down?
No, absolutely not. Because what we did is we sent over 4 different funding bills to fully fund government to fund this memorial to make sure it shuts down. We sent them over, and Harry Reid refused to even look at them, and President Obama wouldn't deal at all.
There it is.
That's me.
That's you. That's
where did that audio come from?
No, we've played it twice already. Amazing. Now 3 times. Yeah. So Congress had nothing to do with shutting down the memorial, right?
Yeah, she's not the only one who said this. So yesterday, obviously Tuesday was the day.
Question. Yeah.
Tuesday was the day that the government shut down and the shutdown began. Yeah. And then this whole thing happened, and it wasn't just her. So she was down there saying this, and she was saying a lot of stuff about this. She was saying, we're going to keep it open. We're going to, cut the ribbon and come every day. But also, even moderate Republican, Senator Mark Kirk from Illinois was down there, and I interviewed him too, and he said basically the same thing that Michelle Bachmann said, which is really surprising, actually, in terms of what you expect from. We hear about this moderate wing is fighting this conservative wing of the GOP, and they don't want this shut down. And it was still from him, like, this is President Obama's fault because Obamacare is going to be a nightmare for the Democrats. So he's just trying to force it through. And so that's why we're having this shutdown. Very similar stuff.
Well, do you think it's surprising that all the Republicans got the same talking points?
Well, a quite interesting aside to this is that I also published a story with 2 of my colleagues, Jacob Fischler and Benny Johnson, later that day, where we spoke to one of the organizers of the event at the memorial on Tuesday, and he said that Michelle Bachmann just showed up and just started grandstanding, didn't do anything to help them, just kind of found every microphone that she could find.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Very interesting.
And yesterday basically everybody just said, all right, keep the damn thing open, right?
Well, yeah. What happened yesterday was I think sort of the people who run the Park Service met. The White House got involved a little bit, and they discovered, I think, what you'd call sort of a classic sort of DC loophole moment. Where they can find some sort of way to make something happen. They found a thing called a First Amendment activity exemption. That allows you to go if you're doing First Amendment activity, which sort of interestingly, I guess, kind of characterizes this honor flight thing, which brings in veterans from across the country to go and see this World War II memorial, sort of classifies it as a protest, which is interesting because it's definitely not a protest, but it's this is sort of what they're doing. And this applies to all memorials in D.C. now, as well as in Philadelphia. So it's they're not open to visitors. If you're a visitor, if you're a tourist, you will not be. Right. Not only can you not go in, you may be told to leave if you do go in. I mean, these barricades are not. It's not lockdown tight. No. You can walk in there.
Yeah, the whole idea that the original news that came out about the World War II memorial was that there was this huge fence with these big padlocks and everything, and these people were busting through. I mean, it was hardly that at all. They just moved the little fences aside. So, but this gets to the Republican. The latest scheme is, okay, we shut down the government, but now we're going to pass a bill, agency by agency or office by office or memorial, to reopen things that we think will gain us some points, right? Is that strategy going to work?
Well, it's not going to work in terms of the fact that the Democrats are not going along with this. I mean, look, this is a lesson that we learned, that the entire nation learned under sequester, which was in the sequester situation. You had a law that nobody wanted. I mean, it's important to remember sequester was passed because nobody wanted it, and then it happened, and then there was some pain inflicted upon sort of your middle class or wealthier Americans, which would be these airline flight delays and airline lines to get into airplanes, to get into airports and security lines, and they immediately passed a fix. The president signed it. Democrats voted for it. Everybody sort of got on board with this idea, and now we have a sequester sort of it feels like maybe forever. And I think that when it comes to this situation. This piecemeal opening thing, it's a gambit that I think the Democrats are not going to go for this time, and so I think they're not going to do that.
I just want to point out that at the time I said it was a huge mistake to allow to write this carve out this exemption for the airports. Let people wait in it. I mean, let people feel the pain. That's what the sequester was supposed to all about. And the same thing with this shutdown. My bitch with the shutdown is that there are too many things that are still open, like the airports, TSA and air traffic control, and the post offices. They should shut everything down. At any rate, hey, we're talking the consequences and the dimensions of the shutdown. How long it might last, we'll get into that when we come back with Evan McMorris-Santoro from Buzzfeed. Join the conversation. Phone's been going crazy this morning. 866-55-PRESS.
Streaming live video right now at youtube.com/TawkrTV. That's TAWKR-TV. This is The Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we are. It is 25 minutes after the hour. We'll be joined in the next, right after the half, by Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa from Hawaii. Evan McMorris-Santoro covers the White House. He and I hang out at the briefings together at the White House every day. He's there for Buzzfeed. So what is your take on, the president, it's pretty clear they're not going to budge on this one, isn't it? I mean, unlike in previous negotiations where the president has accepted things like extended the Bush tax cuts, this time, no way, right? Do you read it that way?
I mean, I think that the stakes are very different this time. I do read it that way in terms of I think that they're not going to negotiate, but that's because that what we're dealing with is a very different situation than we had dealt with before, right? I mean, they tried to negotiate over the debt ceiling that one time, that led to sequester and all this other nonsense that we have now. And they tried to, Obama said he's willing to talk about the budget. We can have a budget conversation, but the circumstances are different this time in that the Democrats have passed a budget in the Senate. Republicans have one in the House. There's a chance for regular order to have a conference committee and have a budget that comes out, and then Obama's willing to get behind that process. So it's not the same situation. I think there's not going to budge
as long as there's not as he says, a gun to their head, or Harry Reid said that, I guess, or a price to pay for entering the conference room, which Republicans demand. We'll enter the conference room as long as you agree you're going to shut down or delay part of the Affordable Care Act. Let me look behind. Oh, I'm sorry. Right. Now the Republicans. The last I heard from Speaker Boehner is two things. One, he's talking again about maybe going back to the grand bargain, and two, he's talking about now let's all tie this together with raising the debt ceiling, which is really making it even more difficult.
Well, it's important to remember it's what he calls a grand bargain. Okay, now a grand bargain would suggest some sacrifices on all sides, right? That's the original grand bargain was Obama gave up some entitlement stuff. And this is when change CPI and all these things that made his base extremely upset came out. This is all these ideas, and at the same time, there's going to be some revenue increases from the Republicans. This one, at least to the early reports of this quote unquote grand bargain, are delaying parts of the sequester, right? So not eliminating, but delaying part of the sequester, and then in return for that, also doing change CPI, and then also doing raising debt ceiling and the CR.
Well, at some point, we have to take a break here, but at some point it seems to me that Boehner has to recognize that he's not really dealing from strength in this case. I don't know. I mean, at least you got Democrats in the Senate, Democrats in the House, and the White House all lined up against him, and some of his Republican caucus too.
More and more every day.
Colleen Hanabusa from Hawaii joining us next.
Is the Bill Press Show. Get social with Bill Press. Like us at facebook.com/Bill Press Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
Here we are. It's 33 minutes now after the hour. It's Wednesday. No, it's not. It's Thursday. Lose a day here. Thursday morning, October 3rd. We're coming to you live from our nation's capital, our studio on Capitol Hill, brought to you today by AFSCME. You know, the good men and women of AFSCME, the largest public employee and healthcare workers union in the entire country, under President Lee Saunders. For more information, they've been very, very involved in the rollout of the health exchanges this week. For more information, go to their website at afscme.org, AFSCME.org. This is day 3 of the shutdown, and Republicans, particularly the Tea Party members of the House, leading John Boehner by the nose, or some other part of his anatomy, have dug in their heels, and it looks like it's going to go on and on for her insights into what's happening. We welcome in the studio Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa from the great state of Hawaii. Congresswoman, nice to see you.
Thanks for having me.
And we're joined this entire hour as a friend of Bill. Evan McMorris-Santoro covers the White House for BuzzFeed. Evan, good to have you on board. I have to ask you, Congresswoman, so, you know, I have a lot of friends in the Congress, particularly from California, where I'm from, and they go home like every weekend, which is, it's a long flight, right? 5.5 hours. How about you?
We can't go home every weekend. Matter of fact,
right, I would think.
Matter of fact, I told Nancy Pelosi when I first got elected that you realize, right, we make you the Midwest. And she kind of was startled, but she kind of chuckled and she said, "That's right." I said, "When I pass California, I'm only halfway home."
That's right. I was thinking because in any flight you go to L.A. 5.5 hours, and then or San Francisco, change planes, and then Honolulu another 5.5 hours.
That's right.
Or there are non-stops from California to Maui and to the Big Island, correct?
Mm-hmm. There are, and they're trying to boost the non-stops to other like the Big Island and so forth. And I'm not quite sure where they are right now in terms of being able to do that. But Maui definitely they do have it, and a lot of it is constrained by the length of our runways. What we can do. So that's part of it. But
well, it's a wonderful, wonderful state, and each island has its own, things to offer, its own personality, its own character. And when you're out there, Evan, sometimes I feel like I'm not really in the United States, but it's nice to know that you are in the United States.
Well, after 9/11, one of the most important statistics that we had, I was the in the Hawaii State Legislature at that time, was that we actually had the greatest recovery because of the fact that we were safe. Though we were. Yeah. Though I hate the fact that, we've been called exotic when the president comes to visit, we were considered very safe. So we picked up a lot in terms of tourism after 9/11.
That's interesting. Right.
Yeah.
Now, let's get right down to the news of the day. We're day 3. Do you see any light at the end of the tunnel? Any way out of this shutdown?
The only way we're going to see any relief from what we're going through is at some point, I think the majority of the majority party is just going to have to stand up and say enough is enough. We've heard rumors at every juncture along the way that we've picked up 20 Republicans who would join, 17. We heard about a meeting that 15 of them had with Speaker Boehner saying enough is enough, send out a clean CR. I think that the best way to explain this is we have a good way of putting it in Hawaii, save face. In other words, how do you save face after doing this? It started with a whole thing about Obamacare. When we started initially with the defunding, then we went to those crazy delays, and the delays, and then we had the medical device tax, and then again the individual mandate, sending it back twice, and now we're down to this new trick, which is they'll pick and choose which ones of the departments they want to fund, and then they'll do that. And it's like, it's almost like just bleeding people and saying, and we know what's going to happen. Like the departments they don't like HHS, are probably not going to be funded, or the EPA is not going to be funded. But once you start down this road, that's exactly what's going to happen. So, but notice no Obamacare anymore.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
All
no
right.
Obamacare. So it's like, okay, what's really important? So is it this so that they get back to Obamacare, and is it really just doing something to be able to say they did Obamacare? Where I thought, as it was rolling out, that they might have had an interesting plan was the medical device tax. If they had not sent two. So that the speaker could join them together. I mean, the leader could join them together. Had they sent one, they may have caused some problems, because there was like a resolution vote earlier this year where 79 of the senators, of the 100 senators, voted for its repeal. So, it's almost like they misstepped. They thought they were getting a little too
far.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Are Democrats going to stay unified as under this pressure of all these little mini bills? I mean, we've seen so far they have, but I mean, a lot of these bills are sort of tailor-made for campaign ads, right? Like, oh, you voted against what we saw, opening the hospitals for children with cancer, or the one they tried that we've been talking about this week, the letting veterans into the World War II memorial. Right. Do you think of this unanimity that we're seeing, this unified Democratic caucus, is that going to stay as this thing goes on?
I think it is going to stay, and the reason why is because I think that what the Republicans are doing is they're throwing their best shots out, and for some, like for example, the troops, we knew what was happening when the troops started, but of course, that was a unanimous vote. But with the veterans, that the veterans, for example, won't get their checks. The issue is the new processing. They will get their checks on time. The funds are there, and it's the new processing. But in checking,
which will be delayed, right?
Well, no. Apparently, the latest report that my office received is that they're fine for 2 to 4 weeks.
Oh, I see.
So,
okay.
So it's not urgent right now. That even with 2 to 4 weeks, we shouldn't see. And when you look at the numbers, that's the other interesting thing. When you look at the numbers, I think the Washington Post did this. Is that you have something like 330 some odd thousand employees within veterans, and I think of them, only about 14,000 is subject to furlough. So 300 and the 320 some odd thousand are going to continue. So it really is. Optics are bad if they say you're doing this, but when you really begin to dissect what it is, then you see that it's not as they are portraying it. But you can't. When I speak to you, I can go through that and say, hey, this and this. But in a 30-second soundbite, what do you say except you're lying or that's not true?
I want to go back to your phrase, enough is enough, because I think it's important to point out that the 95 last time we had a shutdown, it ended when then Majority Leader Bob Dole went on the floor of the Senate and said, enough is enough. And that was it. There was no, okay, I'll do this if you do that. He finally just said, okay, enough's enough. We made our point. All right, let's resolve this and we'll just move on. So that's a key phrase. What's happening in the House, of course, it's often cited, is that the Speaker will not allow the clean resolution, or CR, to come up for a vote because he wants to follow the Hastert rule, whereby he has to have a majority of the majority. And that's what the few Tea Partiers have been able to block. Denny Hastert is quoted this morning. The Daily Beast, I don't know whether you saw it yet, it has the story where Eleanor Clift interviewed Denny Hastert yesterday, and he said, "What Hastert rule?" He said, I never adopted any rule like that. I don't want any rule named after me." He said, "I think it's a stupid idea." At one time, he just sort of said something like, "Yeah, I'd prefer to have a majority of my own members with me on," but that was just like an offhand remark, and it's become, this holy of holies, right? That you can't violate.
Well, no, it's not, because
But it's not an official House rule, is it?
It's not it's not. But the other thing of it is that they've breached it themselves. The Violence Against Women's Act would not have come to the floor if they enforced the Hastert rule, because we only had 80 some odd Republicans and it was carried by the Democrats. So when it's convenient and when the Speaker wants to do it, or when he has that solid, because the more moderate Republicans, for lack of a better description, when they stand up and they say, we're not going to take this, and he put it down. So the Hastert rule is not something that's laid in stone that they can't violate, because they've done it.
Oh, do you feel like, we keep seeing every day stories of more moderate Republicans sort of shifting over to the Democratic position and for this clean CR. Do you see that being the way that this ends, or do you think it ends with some kind of with Boehner acting only?
I think that I've said from the beginning of this whole process that it's going to come down for what price speakerdom. What is the price you're willing to pay for speakerdom? So I think that it's going to be that group that they actually say, we've stood by you. We've even let you do this to us, but it's time for you to be the guy we supported. I think it's going to take that, because I don't think with everything that's gone on that he's willing to put speakerdom up for grabs right now. So I think that's what it's going to come down to.
And that raises the question, which we will get into with a good Congresswoman from Hawaii, Colleen Hanabusa, and with Emma McMorris-Santoro when we come back, about who is the real Speaker of the House of Representatives. It's the Bill Press Show, Thursday morning.
This is the Bill Press Show. Follow us on Twitter @BP Show. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, 13 minutes, make it 12 minutes before the top of the hour on a Thursday morning with Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa from Hawaii and Evan McMorris-Santoro from Buzzfeed here. So, Congresswoman, there is a question about who's really running the show over there. Senator Chuck Schumer had a comment on that yesterday on the floor.
Now, Speaker Boehner is an accomplice in the Tea Party shutdown, and everyone knows it. So he's trying desperately to wriggle out of the hot seat by passing one-off bills and making half-hearted efforts to reopen pieces of the government. Speaker Boehner's in this position because, sadly, he's become a puppet, with Ted Cruz pulling the strings.
You've probably seen the website speakercruz.com.
That's right. That's right.
But it does seem like Ted Cruz is sort of telling members of the Tea Party in the House what to do. Huh?
Well, you know, we're trying to figure out whether the number is 30 or whether it's 40, and
of the hardliners.
The hardliners, and you know, and still the math just doesn't work out.
What do you get, Evan? What is your?
We hear about 30, you know, but between 30 and 40. I mean, I think it depends on how bad the polls get. I mean, that's really what shakes people around often.
Because the New York Times yesterday identified 20 as the real hardliners, and so then maybe they get another 10 or 15 to vote with them, right? But
we're supposed to have 20 who are supposed to be with us, so you know they should cancel each other out. Just pure math, they should cancel each other out. But there's something else going on.
Huffington Post this morning quotes a Republican congressman saying, I think this sort of sums up what's going on. Quote, "We're not going to be disrespected. We have to get something out of this. And I don't know what that even is."
That's right.
So, as you said a little earlier, like saving face. Well, they got to get something, but they don't even know. They know they're not going to get what they want. Right. But
I mean, they did get one thing, right? I mean, sequester is pretty much here to stay. Is that right? Do you believe? I mean, now that the negotiation tactic is to a sequester level budget, where sequester's here for the foreseeable future.
So the Democrat position has been, look, you got your level. We've given in on your level. We don't want that level. We want it at the BCA cap level. But we're going to I think it's I get them all mixed up. I think it's the 286 level. 986 level.
986.
986
is where it is today, which is very close to the Paul Ryan.
Right. It is the Paul Ryan. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you got that. So, you know, let's move on. But it's like they don't want it anymore. They can't decide what they want. It's like they started with this whole defunding Obamacare, basically embarrassing the president on Obamacare. But now we're going to open it piecemeal. Excuse me.
And now Speaker Boehner is saying, well, I don't know whether he said that. I'm paraphrasing. What's really important is the debt ceiling. So let's tie it all to the debt ceiling. The consequences of which would be far worse than the shutdown, correct?
Oh, I think the interesting thing about the debt ceiling is that then you'll see Wall Street and you'll see the banks and you'll see the chamber and people like that, I think, really put on the pressure.
We saw a little bit of that yesterday at the White House. Do you need some more water?
That's what yesterday's negotiation was about. I mean, they came down and they were there for this hour-long meeting. People were speculating all this stuff was going to happen. Really, it seems to be now they're trying to, put it all together into one thing.
But I was talking about earlier in the day, we had the leaders of Wall Street, the Financial Forum or whatever, meet with the president, and they came out and spoke to us reporters afterwards. And Lloyd Blankfein, I guess, Goldman Sachs.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, who was the spokesperson who said, we just told the president that failure to raise a debt ceiling would send this economy in a tailspin.
But he's not the one they need to speak to. They need to speak to the guys in our House that are the Republicans. I think the president and the Democrats feel that this is really the ultimate goal and possibly what they're going to try to hold hostage for all of this, for the debt ceiling and whatever they want in the debt ceiling. But I agree. That is going to be the worst scenario. But it doesn't seem like there's enough pressure building, because if they give on this, then what happens with the debt ceiling?
He said that they were going to take that same message to the Hill and to the Republican leadership on the Hill.
I mean, we saw in 2011, we had this discussion that there's a lot of Republicans who don't know that that's going to be such a terrible idea. I mean, we saw people, even like Paul Ryan, saying, it may not be that big a deal to have this default if it were to happen. So, I mean, I'm not sure how solid that message lands up there.
What do you hear from the people in your district? Do they care? Do they know? Do they care?
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a large number of federal employees, about 20,000 that are just DOD, and an additional 25,000 that are federal employees. Yeah. So just like with sequestration, the people at home do care. And I've had people come here on vacation who were actually either employed by the federal government or were employed by the federal government, and they are very much aware of it. And they are concerned as to what this means. We have, as I say, the president said we're pivoting to Asia Pacific, and what's right smack in the middle is Hawaii. Though when we grew up, the map sort of split the Pacific. Now, when you really look at the map of the world, 55% of the Earth's surfaces and so forth, it's Asia Pacific. And this is a major concern as to how this is going to affect us.
Which, Evan, is why the president really does want to make, one of the reasons he really wants to make this Asia trip this weekend. Well, I don't know whether he's going to be able to do it or not, but with that, we are out of time, and you've got to get back there and work this whole thing out, Congresswoman. We're counting on you today, Congresswoman Colleen Hanabusa. Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming in.
Come
back again. And Evan, it's always good to have you here, my friend.
Thanks.
And we'll see you at the White House at 12:30 for our little briefing.
Absolutely.
With Jay Carney, and I'll be back with today's parting shot.
Go mobile with Bill Press. Download podcasts at BillPressShow.com and listen anytime, anywhere. This is The Bill Press Show. The Parting Shot with Bill Press. This is the Bill Press Show.
All right, very quickly today, just going to tell you, day 3 of the government shutdown. We are now down to gimmickry. Yeah, first, House Republicans showing up with cameras in tow at the World War II Memorial, weeping over the fact that World War II veterans can't come to Washington and visit the memorial, which they themselves shut down. And now they're passing these bills trying to reopen one agency after another, piece by piece by piece. No deal. You can't fund and defund and refund the government piecemeal. Only an idiot would agree to such a deal like that, and only an idiot would propose it. Have a good one, folks. See you tomorrow.
This is the Bill Press Show.